Om Namo Narayana, Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva Om, Shiva Om. Welcome to another Satsang with your host, Chuck the Yogi from the Yogi Cave, as we go deeper and deeper into this Vivekachudamani and this autumn. Let us continue. Panchendriyaihi Panchabhireva Hotribihi Prachiyamano Vishayash Yadaraya Jaj Valyamano Bahuvasan Ninda Naihi Manoma Yagnir Tahati Prapancham. The five sense organs act as sacrificial priests who feed the fuel of numerous desires into the mental sheath, which is the sacrificial fire. This fire, this mental sheath, brings about and maintains the entire phenomena world when it is set ablaze by the sense objects, which act as a continuous stream of oblations. So it's all about the mind, isn't it? Nayastya vidya manaso dirikta mano yavidya bhava bandha hetu tasmin vinashte sakalam vinashtam vijurimbite smin sakalam vijurimbate. Apart from the mind, there is no ignorance, avidya. The mind itself is the ignorance, which is the cause for the bondage of conditioned existence. When the mind is destroyed, everything else is destroyed. When the mind manifests, everything else manifests. Svapne ritashunye rijati svashaktya bhoktrad ivishvam manaiva sarvam tataiva jagaratyapi Novisheshaha tatsarva metan manaso vijurimbanam. In the dream state, even though there is no contact with the external world, the mind alone projects the entire dream universe of enjoyer, etc. Similarly, the waking state is no different. All this world of myriad phenomena is but a projection of the mind. Dream within a dream. Tikale manasi praline naivasti kinchitsa kala prasidehe ato manaha kalpita eva pumsaha samsara etasya navastutosti. In deep sleep, the mind is reduced to its casual state and nothing perceivable exists, as is proved by the universal experience of all people. Hence, the relative world is just a creation of the mind and has no objective reality. Vayuna niyate meghaha punastenaiva niyate manasa kalpyate bando mokshastenaiva kalpyate. The wind gathers the clouds together, and the wind itself scatters them. So too, the mind creates bondage and also creates liberation. Not too far from particularly the Mahayana Buddhist, Dehadi sarva vishaye parikalpya ragam padnati tena purusham pashuvad gunena vairasya matra vishavad suvudaya paschad enam vimochayati dhammana eva bandhat. The mind causes attachment for the body and the sense objects. These attachments bind one like an animal that is bound by ropes. Therefore, thereafter, the same mind creates a distaste for these sense objects, as though they were poison, and liberates one from bondage. It's the game of bondage and liberation. Tasman manaha karana masya shantoho bandasya mokshasya chava vidane bandasya hetur malinam rajogunaihi mokshasya shudam virajasta maskam. Therefore, the mind is the cause for both liberation as well as bondage. When tainted by the effects of rajas, it causes bondage. When it is free from rajas and tamas, it paves the way to liberation. In other words, when sattvic qualities predominate. in the person. Viveka Vairagya Guna Tireka Chul Tat Vamasadya Mano Vimuktyaye Pavatyato Bodhimato Momoksho Stabhyam Tridabhyam Pavita Vyamagre. When the mind has been made pure through the cultivation, discrimination, and dispassion, it turns towards liberation. Hence, the wise seeker of liberation must first strengthen these two qualities, dispassion and discrimination. Mano nama mahavyagru visharanya bhumishu charatyatra na gachantu sadavo ye momokshavaha. A huge tiger called mind prowls the Vyagra, the tiger. Manasa Vyagra prowls in the thick jungles of sense pleasures. Let not those virtuous people who have a deep aspiration for liberation and ever wander the rain. Manaha prasute vishaya nasheshan stulatmana sukshmataya chaboktu sharira varna sharama jati vedan gurna kriya hetu phalani nityam. The mind continuously delivers for the experiencer all sense objects, gross or subtle, without exception, distinctions based upon the body, caste, order of life, and creed, as well as the differences of qualities, actions, motives, and results. In other words, everything. Asanga chidru pammamum vimohya dehendriya prana gunair nibadya ahamameti brahma yatya jasram manaha svakrityeshu phalophabu ktishu. Unattached pure intelligence is the essence of the individual, but the mind beguiles it and binds it by ties of the body, sense organs, and pranas, causes the individual to wander with the idea of I and mine in the myriad experiences of results gathered by itself. So it's the identification of the body with the body. It's what binds us to the illusion. Adyasa doshat purushasya samsaritihi adyasa bandas vamunaiva kalpitaha rajastamo dosha vato vivekino janma tidu kasya nida na metat. The defect of superimposed causes, transmigration in mind alone, is responsible for the bondage of superimposition. For a person who is tainted with rajas and tamas, and who lacks the discrimination, this alone causes birth, suffering, etc. Ataha parahur mano vidyam panditast hat vadarshinaha yanaiva brahmyate vishvam vayu neva brahmandalam. Hence, the wise who know the truth declare the mind itself as ignorance. By this alone, the universe of experience is tossed around like the clouds before the wind. Tanmana ha shodanam karyam prayatnina mumukshuna vishude sati chaitasmin muktihi kara palayate. Therefore, the mind must be diligently purified by one who seeks liberation. When the mind has been purified, liberation becomes readily available, like a fruit in the palm of one's hands, low-hanging fruit. Mokshaika satya vishayeshu ragam nirmulya sanyasya cha sarvakarma sakshara daya yaha shravanna dinishto prajaha svabhavam sadunoti buddhehe. With single-pointed devotion to liberation, one who roots out attachments, for sense objects renounces all actions, and with faith and truth constantly hears the truth, etc., and succeeds in purging the rajasic nature of the mind. So it's all about alchemy. I'll leave it there. Internal alchemy. Om Namo Narayana. Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva Om. Shiva Hum. Jai Ma. Jai Mahagai. Till next time.